5 life lessons that I wish I would have known when I was 25 years old. And I'm just going to start with it. All right. The very first one, which is let go of all expectations. You might have heard me talk about this before, but one of the biggest sources of distress in my life has been the expectations that I've held on things, events, people. Because when those expectations aren't met, and quite often they aren't because they're outside of my control, what happens? I get upset, I get sad, I get angry. And I found that by letting go of expectations, I can eliminate a majority of the negative emotions I'm experiencing in my life. And not all of them, but almost every negative emotion comes from an unmet expectation, especially anger. And so when you really look at it and you look at expectations you have, all expectations are ridiculous. Everything outside of your control to have some expectation on the world or events or other people, it's really a ridiculous thing. If you think about the weather, right? For example, if you had an expectation that, oh, when you go to the beach, it's going to be sunny and then it rains, how ridiculous is that? It's quite ridiculous because you can't control the weather. You can't control whether it's going to rain or not. And so if you expect that it is going to be sunny just because you want to go to the beach, you're going to live a life where you're disappointed all the time, you're upset, and you're feeling like a victim, you're angry at the world. And so I wish I would have learned this earlier in life because it would have saved me a lot of heartache. And also, when you put expectations on people, you're creating obligations. You're trying to get them to behave a certain way. You want them to conform to a certain way so that you can be happy. And so you're trying to control people because constantly you have to monitor to see if people are meeting the expectations. If they're not, then you constantly have to get upset and try to correct them. Whereas when you say, hey, you can do whatever you want to do. I'm also going to do whatever I want to do. And if you do certain things, well, you're not going to be in my life. That's how it is. Like, I'm not going to monitor you. I'm not going to try and control you. I'm not going to try and get you to do something that you don't want to do. It's up to you. So the second one is life is not fair. I wish I would have learned this earlier in life because it would have saved me a whole lot of disappointment, a whole lot of wasting my time trying to make life fair and feeling like I got ripped off and having the victim mindset because I kept on thinking that life is supposed to be fair, that someone owes me something. No one owes you anything. Like, it doesn't have to go your way ever, right? Life can just be whatever it is. You have to accept life for what it is. And when you hold on to this notion of fairness, it robs you of the power to make changes in your life and it makes you into the victim. And so it's just a good thing to realize that life isn't fair. It's not supposed to be fair. It's fine. Sometimes it's not fair for you. Sometimes it's not fair against you, but it's never fair. It's not designed to be fair. And as soon as you can accept that truth, then you can let go of this, again, trying to control life and trying to control other people and trying to control the future, right? You can only do your best. You can only show up. You can only accept what is given to you and what is in front of you. But when you try to control things, when you have to have things your way or you won't be happy, you're not going to be happy majority of the time. The third one is my tattoo here, pronoia. It's hard to see the tattoo. It's hard to twist my wrist that way, but pronoia is the opposite of paranoia. Paranoia means that you have this, I like to say, unrealistic expectation or belief. Let's say unrealistic belief that everything is conspiring against you, that people are conspiring against you, the universe is conspiring against you. Where pronoia is the unrealistic, we'll say delusional. I like to make it this way. Pronoia is the delusional belief that everything in the universe is working for you. All right. I love having this mindset and this idea. I recently was reconditioned into this mindset when I was talking to my daughter. Okay, she's 13 years old, and I was telling her because she had a bad attitude, and I said, hey, the times in my life where I have thought that the road rises up to meet me and everything always works out for me, it has. I lived this semi-charmed life. I really did. Okay, but then there were these times where I thought everything was going against me, and the shit just kept on piling on, and it did. And in that moment, I actually had this Satori moment where I realized, oh wow, John, hey, yeah, this is what's going on right now in your life for the last couple of years. You stop believing that. You stop believing this pronoia idea. And let me tell you, I wish I would have discovered this earlier. I wish that I would have continued in this mindset because there was a time where I found it and I lost it and now I found it again. But pronoia is the way to live. It is really the core of the Bulldog mindset now is what I'm calling it, because when you believe that the road rises up to meet you, when you believe that you live a semi-charmed life, when you believe that everything works out for your good, somehow it magically does. You start seeing things in a different light. And I won't go into all of the depth of details of this, of whether or not it is a matter of the manifestation of these realities, or it's just you're shifting and your beliefs are shifting and now you're able to see things as good because you're interpreting them as good. Because I think it's a combination of the two. But whichever way you fall on that, it doesn't matter. What does matter is that having a pronoia belief, having a positive belief of believing that things are working for you and that good things are happening for you is something that dramatically increases the happiness of your life and makes your life better 100%. The next one, number 4, is is hard work cures depression. This one is one I have to remind myself so many times because I will be unmotivated, I'll be depressed, I'll be not feeling good about myself. And the last thing on my mind will be doing hard work. But every time I do it, every time I sit down at my desk and I turn on the Pomodoro timer or whatever it is, and I'm just like working hard, busting butt, man, I feel so good. I feel so good every single day. It's always secure. It's always secure for being depressed. And it's never what I want to do when I'm feeling depressed and unmotivated. But if you can do it, if you can do what I call the 3-day rule, 3 days of momentum builds motivation. If you can spend 3 days just focusing on what you're supposed to do and doing it and working hard, and you know what working hard is, like really putting your heart into things and getting done what you're supposed to get done and not wasting time, wow, you feel good. You start to feel good. It's almost always secure. And then the final one, and this is one that I have recently learned, is always respond in love. And this one might seem cheesy, it might seem a little corny, I get it. But wow, I've been practicing this since the beginning of January, and it has drastically improved my life and my relationships with people. It just, no matter what happens, no matter what you throw at me, I'm going to respond in love. Now, I'm not perfect. Obviously I can slip up and make mistakes, but I've been running a pretty good track record since January because it's in my head. I'm reciting this mantra. I won't go into too much detail on this, but it's so important. I think it's one of the most important life lessons, in fact, that I created an entire video on this in the Bulldog Mindset membership, right? It goes into depth on how to respond in love, why to respond in love, different situations and examples. It's about an hour-long lesson in there. If you want to deep dive into this, if you're already a member, click the link down below. If you're not, check it out. $7 trial to start to Bulldog Mindset membership. You get 200 videos, 200 plus videos, monthly coaching calls with me where you can ask me any kind of question, a great community, and just an amount of wisdom that will help you in your life that I don't think you'll really find in very many places, if anywhere, right? So check it out, and I'll see you tomorrow.